Tzu Chi volunteers loan a care recipient money to purchase a vehicle to make a living and improve his living conditions. Construction delays of a kindergarten in Liancheng, Fujian Tzu Chi volunteers continue to check on its progress, ensuring completion is on time. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Lee-Shioda. Thank you for joining us. In the Philippines, Tzu Chi has been assisting local residents in Leyte province's Palo to rebuild their homes when Typhoon Haiyan devastated the area. With the company Tzu Chi has provided over the past few years, families have dramatically improved their lives.
Despite the heat, Florence works very hard to make money with his tricycle. However, the meager income is only enough to feed his family. If any one of the children is sick, they have to borrow money from their neighbors.
In the past, my husband always worried about our livelihood as he grew rice with his aunts.
Florence hoped to own an electric tricycle so he could earn more money by driving more customers. Tzu Chi helped him fulfill his wish with a loan. He worked very hard to return all the money, and later he sold the electric tricycle to buy a small bus.
Naipon ako ng 500, yun naipon ko yung 500, yung iba, parang ano namin, pang gastos.
Every week I save some money. I really want to help myself. I don't want to rely on others. I really hope that my family will live a better life.
Our life was difficult before, but now we feel fortunate because we have a more comfortable living condition.
Typhoon Haiyan brought great damage to Palo in 2013. Tzu Chi assisted typhoon victims, including the Flores family, to rebuild their homes. When someone in this DaAi village is sick, Ellen may help inform Tzu Chi volunteers. She also continues the cycle of love by dedicating herself to promoting recycling in the village.
During the annual pilgrimage for Dajia's Mazu, team of doctors have set up a free clinic along the journey. They have also set up a mini recycling stop in hopes people will help protect the planet as well. Team members have arrived at Jiayi's Fengtian Temple to check on the health of those making the annual Dajia Mazu pilgrimage.
Most are leg pains or blisters on the feet from walking too much.
Next to the free clinic, Tzu Chi volunteers have set up a recycling stop. Mr. Lai, who knows the importance of doing recycling, goes to each vendor to pick up recyclable items to sort.
We must take action. Only by doing will it yield results. If one person wants to influence more people, it will take time and effort.
Through the annual Dajia Mazu pilgrimage, everyone can use different ways to protect the planet, as well as express their piety towards Mazu. Many cancer patients often lose their hair while undergoing chemotherapy. We visit a cancer resource center at Taichung Tzu Chi Hospital, which offers a wig rental service to help recovering cancer patients get back to a healthy, happy life.
不错看哈。你换过几顶？你换过几顶了？2顶而已。2顶而已。
This is 34-year-old Miss Xu, who is a breast cancer survivor. Because of her chemotherapy, Miss Xu lost all of her hair.
第一顶是卷的，然后第二顶是直的。直的。本来要换第3顶，可是被借走了。不会，我最爱的那个张君雅小妹妹那一顶被借走了。
刚刚那顶也蛮像的。
For many chemo patients, a realistic wig is a highly sought-after item, but quality wigs are not cheap. To help patients in Taichung, the Tzu Chi Hospital has a cancer resource center that provides wig rental services.
可是我觉得它后面这边比较没有这么的顺。
Once the treatment is finished and they are off the medication, their hair will slowly come back. So we recommend that they don't spend money buying a wig, and we offer a wig rental service instead.
来把你戴上去，眼睛先闭一下。
Each of these wigs represents a donation of love. Every human hair wig requires the donated hair of at least 8 people.
The necessary length is 30 centimeters. Donations have to be at least that long, and it can't be dyed or permed, since hair that has been damaged is likely to fall apart during the manufacturing process.
乳房其实是有重量的，其实你可以拿看，它其实是有重量的。
The Cancer Resource Center also provides counseling services for breast cancer survivors who will need special bras after having a mastectomy.
If they have had one breast removed, then the weight of the breast will be unbalanced. These bras can provide a balanced weight. They are adjustable and like carrying a book bag. Keeping the weight even will help prevent scoliosis.
The services provided by the center are diverse. In addition to coordinating medical services, they also make referrals to the social welfare office.
其他部分是都还好，没有什么特别的事情的。
Additionally, the center provides books for reference, as well as nutritional advice and psychological counseling.
Every patient is certain to have some degree of emotional difficulty. Usually, the first thing we try to do is provide patients with a bit of counseling to console them.
With a welcoming atmosphere and encouraging, optimistic attitudes, the Cancer Resource Center at Taichung Tzu Chi Hospital is doing its part to help cancer patients overcome their treatment and get back to enjoying a healthy life.
Chemotherapy can be especially stressful on the human body, which is why patients undergoing chemo have to pay special attention to their diet to supplement their protein and vitamin intake. In our next piece, we'll look at some special advice for the nutrition of patients undergoing chemotherapy.
2 years ago, Mr. Mo began receiving chemotherapy to treat cancer that developed in his tongue.
They used the muscle on my left leg, then they cut some from my right leg to even it out.
Mr. Mo had half of his tongue removed. Muscle from his calf was transplanted to his throat. A 20-centimeter scar on his neck also remains from the operation.
I couldn't get down much food, just like someone who had throat surgery. My diet was liquid and I wasn't very happy.
Even though ingesting liquids was still difficult, Mr. Mo kept his strength by eating a few meals a day with the help of a juicing machine.
They say people need to have the will, but they also need the strength. It makes a lot of sense. Whenever I go back to the cancer ward for checkups, I see the other patients and see how skinny my friends are. It makes my heart hurt. I tell them you have to get your weight up to help.
Thankfully, Mr. Mo received adequate nutrition during his chemotherapy, which is an especially important time to carefully monitor your diet, since the body is under so much stress.
There is a condition known as blood marrow myelosuppression, which causes a decrease in white blood cells and the cells responsible for blood clotting called thrombocytes.
It is very important to maintain high levels of caloric intake, as well as protein and vitamins. With adequate water, a diet high in protein can help the recovery process.
From clinical statistics, we know that the better the nutrition of the patients, the less negative side effects they are likely to experience.
For those patients who are vegetarian, they must increase their intake of starches and soy protein.
During chemotherapy, vegetarian patients can increase protein in a few ways. They can also increase starch intake from rice, noodles, grains, and roots. The most important thing is probably eating more soy protein.
Some good sources of protein are things like tofu, soy milk, red beans, mung beans, and lentils. Any variety of bean is a good choice. Nuts and fruits are good choices for a snack. However, cold foods like lettuce, salads, or pickled foods such as kimchi should be avoided.
There are often problems affecting mucus levels and the digestive tract that occur during chemotherapy. Foods that aid mucus production and digestion are recommended. If someone's quality of mucus production is poor, then this will be much more difficult for the patient, with infections and diarrhea likely to occur.
In addition to supplementing a patient's diet based upon their particular health needs, patients undergoing chemotherapy are also advised to get as much sun as possible and to try and keep the body strong with exercise throughout the period of chemo treatment.
As the capital of Taiwan, Taipei has many resources that other cities may not have, including more access to tourists and more demand for education. These things were kept in mind with projects to redevelop idle traditional markets. For example, Andong Market's second floor was given over to a private kindergarten 6 years ago. And in the Datong district of Taipei, the Shuanglian Market was the first one to see a floor of the market successfully converted into a youth hostel. Let's take a look.
These 3 college students from South Korea are visiting Taiwan for the first time and are staying at a facility popular with backpackers.
Very famous place in Korea, like Gangnam or Hongdae. Many foreign peoples come to Korea and live uncomfortable.
This type of room rents a bed for about $18 a night and is creating a new business opportunity for idle markets.
Behind the bed, we will have a locker where they can put valuable things. While the rooms are small, they have everything you need.
This youth hostel occupies the second floor of the Shuanglian Market. After the space was idle for a long time, in 2013, the Taipei city government and private investors worked together and spent millions of US dollars to renovate it.
After the environment improved, it wasn't hard to see more people coming in here and local residents smiling a little more.
The first floor market maintains the original shops, but the second floor renovation has left more of the original shops a little more optimistic.
Before, this area is really old and only elderly people came here, and now there are a few young people.
We are close to the MRT station here and near the Ningxia Night Market in Dadaocheng.
The geographical advantages of the market, along with convenient transportation and shopping, have made this idle space a relatively good investment. Furthermore, the Shuanglian Market has become the first Taiwan public facility to be successfully converted into a hotel. Upon entering this space, it's difficult to imagine this was a public market.
Coming in, this is where a booth used to be, and this large space over here was a stall too, and there are more stalls over there.
While old stall spaces are still visible, their actual function is totally different. In the past, Andong Market faced the same problem, with vendors doing well on the first floor but failing on the second floor with few customers. For this reason, the space was idle for many years, where the city later decided to ask outside investors to rebuild it into a kindergarten.
We embraced the concept of a community-friendly park, allowing those aged 0 to 6 to come here to play from Tuesday to Saturday for free.
This long-forgotten market on the second floor was partially transformed into a kindergarten, with part of it reopened as a community-type space. Though it's not truly a public facility, it does benefit the general public.
I think converting it into a kindergarten is a good idea. It allows mothers to come and buy food, and their children can come here to study.
This market is bringing more benefits to the community through more integration, such as education. A variety of ingredients from fresh fruits and vegetables to dry goods and other miscellaneous items are all available, which is an eye-opener for these children.
It allows children to understand the culture of the market and helps people in the community.
Andong and Shuanglian Market are good examples of how to revive ailing traditional markets, bringing new life to idle space. Both of these areas are making use of the advantages of the market and providing a need for the community to give new life to these spaces.
In July 2015, a rainstorm in Fujian's Longyan City, Liancheng County, destroyed a kindergarten. In June of 2016, a groundbreaking ceremony got underway and construction began. However, unfavorable weather has delayed the project. Volunteers visited the school to ensure the project is completed on time.
Reconstruction of the school has encountered a number of roadblocks associated with bad weather and climate. But the pledged completion date is approaching. It came back 18 days later to learn more.
It may be raining in the next few days, but we will try to take some measures to work during these cloudy days to catch up with construction and make up for our lack of progress.
When there's good weather, do you have a plan to catch up with this work? I think you must make special arrangements to deploy more laborers.
2 years ago, a disaster struck this kindergarten, which was virtually destroyed, with these students needing to stop their education. Volunteers have been carefully monitoring the situation.
When we came, we wanted to build something and not be empty-handed. But when we came, there was so much work to do, and we had to inspect everything. And there was no break, as we wanted to do our best to make sure the project is well completed. So we just decided to come and take a look.
Volunteers are inspecting everything from walls and corners, noting the progress of the construction and the interior decoration, carefully taking note of everything.
Although our brothers and sisters are not in engineering, but as long as Master Zheng Yan gives us instructions, our compassion is our expertise.
We are starting to build a culture on campus, seeking ways to share Tzu Chi's compassion to the next generation of our children. We hope it can be a kind of inheritance as we want to share this idea with the children.
Despite a heavy spring rain and challenging construction conditions, all of these volunteers have the same mission of wanting to give local children a safe environment to study in.
Famed Japanese singer Shinichi Mori is planning to host a concert in Taiwan to thank the people for their outpouring of love during the 3/11 earthquake relief efforts. On March 29th, he made a trip to Hualien and visited the spiritual home of Tzu Chi. Some of the older songs Taiwanese residents are familiar with are actually originally sung by Shinichi Mori, a renowned Japanese artist. Grateful for the help Tzu Chi provided towards the Japanese in the Great East Japan earthquake, Shinichi Mori visited the Jingse boat and Tzu Chi affiliated factories.
I've established 2 schools in Cambodia, and when we give out aid, refugees will gather. I always tell my students, people shouldn't always just receive assistance. You need to be able to one day give, and that's the most important lesson you should learn.
During the half-day visit to Tzu Chi, Shinichi Mori not only saw the wisdom of Tzu Chi's disaster relief, but he also gained further understanding of filial piety through Tzu Chi. 2 of Taiwan's earliest department stores were built during the Japanese colonial era. One of them, the Hayashi department store, was classed as a historic monument, while the other, the Kikumoto department store, was only classed as a historical building. Now we'll learn what these designations mean and learn about the fates of these 2 historical buildings.
The Kikumoto department store was located at the intersection of Hengyang Road and Boai Road. The 6-story building first opened its doors in 1932 with the look of what was then a modern architectural style. The first 4 floors were filled with shops selling quality goods, while the 5th floor offered a restaurant for dining and relaxing. The department store was a sign of the prosperity of the times. The building holds a special place in the memory of many elderly residents.
The style of the architecture was similar to other old buildings. I used to come here, and there were cloth banners out front.
Today, this building is full of financial offices, but it was once Taiwan's first modern department store, the Kikumoto department store. Today, one can barely see any traces of the former architectural style.
Despite the historical importance of the building, the Taipei City Department of Cultural Affairs has designated the site as simply a historical building rather than a historical monument, which has caused dissatisfaction among some residents.
Although it is a very symbolic building of the economy and history of the colonial period, it is only designated as a historical building. Then they are only required to preserve the exterior face of the building, and it may also eventually be removed or remodeled. They can say it is a restoration, but actually there won't be anything left of the original building.
According to the law, historical monuments face more stringent rules for preservation and must keep the original structure and materials. Historical buildings, however, have less strict requirements. Changes or restoration to both classes of sites must be approved by the Department of Cultural Affairs. The case of the Kikumoto department store is much different from that of Tainan's Hayashi department store. Although both were built during the colonial period, the Hayashi department store was classified as a monument and was even reopened as a department store in 2014. The Kikumoto store, however, will not be able to do the same.
The original state of the Hayashi store was never changed that much. Even most of its exterior remained the same, but the interior of the Kikumoto store has been completely rearranged and updated, and some parts have disappeared. We will have to do some investigating to recover those. The Hayashi department store was able to be preserved because the integrity of the original structure was unaltered. After so many changes at the Kikumoto store, the original has all but disappeared. Just looking at the outside, we can see the glass exterior and the modern tiling you see everywhere. Only in the middle are there the 4 original pillars and the original elevator. But now that part is separated off and has also been altered. The current owner is the Cathay Real Estate Company, and they have proposed a plan to the Department of Cultural Affairs to save the site. However, opinions differ about how to proceed in the preservation project. For most residents, though, the Kikumoto department store has already passed into the pages of history.
In our next piece, we'll see how an old granary from the Japanese colonial period has been transformed into a modern restaurant and exhibition center. The renovation process paid special attention to traditional construction techniques in order to preserve the history of the building.
Hidden in this narrow alley off Bada Road in Taipei, many of the local residents don't even know this building was originally the #1 grain warehouse in Taipei, built over 70 years ago by the Japanese. When the Allies bombed Taipei, some low-altitude fires struck the roof of the granary. After incurring damage during the war, the granary was repurposed into a linen factory, which eventually closed. Then, about 10 years ago, a team was tasked with the building's restoration and renovation, but it wasn't an easy task. The rain has been pouring in for a long time, so everything is covered in mold, with water stains on the ground. When restoring old buildings, the most important thing is to restore them in the same manner as they were originally built, which means if you have older building materials that are still usable, you want to continue using them as long as possible. If you can't use them, then you want to find something that is as similar as possible, and you should do everything following the same process that was originally used. After the restoration, the original red brick and the double wall that was built to keep the building dry and ventilated has all been maintained. The structure itself tells a story. You can see the old style of bolt there. That has a lot of wear from over the years. The lower portion has been repaired using the original construction methods, even down to the nails and the manner in which the pieces are joined. The bullet holes in the iron gate of the old #1 granary are both part of the building's story. By preserving traditional building techniques and paying attention to the details, buildings like this one will continue telling their story for many generations to come.
In Australia, Tzu Chi volunteers from Melbourne participated in the annual Harmony Day event held by Whitehorse City Council, with Tzu Chis performing a play raising awareness of how marine animals are dying from ingesting plastic bags. Let's take a look at the play at the end of the program. Thank you for joining us today. Goodbye.